I tell people that if I knew what I know today, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Welcome to season 9 of the I'm Uncomfortable podcast, the podcast for people who want to be okay with being uncomfortable. We're your hosts, Vanessa and
Melissa. And today we're actually joined by Linda, co-founder and apparently chief steamer of the Ugly Bao.
Oh, that's cute.
So I pulled that right from your Instagram bio, so hope you don't mind. But I actually know Linda from high school, so it's actually been, we were just talking before we pressed record. I can't believe it's been a decade since we've connected. I know that we've been connected on Instagram, so I've seen bits and pieces of updates, including the fact that you've started the Ugly Bao. But other than that, I don't really, this is our chance to catch up and get all caught up on what you've been up to. And I actually saw, that's how I figured out you were starting this business, because I saw via my personal Instagram that you're starting this food business with your partner and your mom. So I'm excited to get more into that. And I actually love the concept of the name. And I immediately thought of the podcast because we're the Uncomfortable podcast. The Ugly Bao, like what's more uncomfortable than embracing the quote unquote ugly, especially with food and food culture these days, especially in this area in LA that you're based out of, or Southern California, I should say, where everything is supposed to be quote unquote aesthetically pleasing in this foodie culture. So again, I just thought the name was genius. I wanted to learn more about it, and because I have a podcast, I was like, perfect, we can reach out to her and see if she'd be willing to come on and talk about it. But yeah, again, I pulled this little snippet from your website as well, and you can add to it once I pass the mic to you. But from the website, the baos are a little ugly, every bit tasty, and most importantly, Vietnamese mom approved. So I want to learn all about the history and what you have to say about this.
You
this
actually
business.
really need to explain the name too, because like Loki, I know it's called the Ugly Bao, but that's kind of a cute name. So
So yeah, with
explain.
that, I want you to formally introduce yourself, and as is tradition around these parts, share a little bit of what's made you uncomfortable lately, Linda.
Sure. Thanks so much for the intro and thanks for having me. It's really exciting and it's good to see you, Melissa, and great to meet you, Vanessa. So my name is Linda Nguyen. I am the one of the founders and co-owner of the Ugly Bao. Um, I don't think there's much else to say about me. I've had a really checkered career. I started in a business, shifted to education, and then ended up in food. I have a bachelor's in business marketing, a master's in theology, and a doctorate in education. So just like a smattering of all the things. And I think that's kind of why I ended up with the Ugly Bao because I think oftentimes, especially on social media, we try to make everything look so curated and perfect. And like you
Mhm.
said, aesthetic. And I was just like, why? We should just embrace the ugly and just the honesty and the truth of life, which is things are a little bit messy sometimes, like my office currently, and very, very messy. And it's just, it is what it is, And I think the more that we let things be and the more we accept it, then the more we can actually live authentically. And so that
Well,
was kind of the inspiration.
can we not gloss over the fact though, like you were like, oh, I have such like a normal past, but also like look at all my degrees, which are
Right.
like, if I saw those things, I wouldn't think like chef, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So
I
like
like
why?
sharing my degrees to let
Yeah.
college students know that you can change your mind.
Oh, I love that.
I wanted to get into that because Vanessa was just reminding me that she was like, we need to talk about all these degrees
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
a lot of what we talk about on this podcast is pivoting and challenging the norm and being okay to take that leap into something that is totally unknown. So, I guess in terms of getting a little bit into the origin of starting this business, what was kind of the idea, that moment, if you can recall, that you're like, okay, I'm going to pivot and put everything in to this idea of the Ugly Bow?
I think it would be misleading to say that I had a singular moment that
Okay.
was like the aha moment. I think it was one of those things that kept bothering me for years.
Mm.
Where, so my family is in food, or my mom's side of the family is in food, and the food business is really what helped pull her family out of poverty.
Wow.
So
Okay.
they're all refugees from Vietnam. They've started and failed many food businesses. but the one that really sustained my mom's siblings is the Baos. So they have their own Bao shops, and I saw what they were doing, and I said, how can I continue that tradition for our generation?
Mm.
And so our baos are a slight departure from theirs. They are Vietnamese, but they are also a little bit modern in the sense that we care a lot about the quality of our ingredients. So one of the things is that our flour is never bleached, which means our baos are a little bit off-white.
Oh.
Ah,
That's literally it. They're just off-white. But if you're used to like perfectly pleated and manufactured baos, you would say that this is ugly. They are
interesting.
ugly. They are just ugly. And that's okay. They look, every single one of them looks different. And if I called it the cute bow, you'd be like, these aren't cute.
Right.
But but if I say that they're ugly, you're like, actually, they're kind of cute. And I'm like, yeah, they are because they're ugly. When you call it out, then you know you can like accept it. And so I think for me, there wasn't like a clear, like, this is it, aha moment. It just kept bothering me for years and years and years of like, I know I can do something with this. What is it going to be? It
Mm.
was that coupled with my desire of creating a nonprofit organization, which hopefully someday down the line, knock on wood, I'll make that happen.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was sort of like it. And I also realized, by the way, Melissa, I completely glossed over your what's making me uncomfortable.
We
You
were
could
so
add it right
excited.
now. You
Yeah.
could say it right now.
Okay, something that's been making me uncomfortable is wedding planning.
Oh, yes, congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. I also wanted to talk about this because I feel like wedding planning is so hyped and so glamorized. It is hard, y'all. It is so hard.
I can
So
imagine
hard.
too, depending on like the size of the wedding that you
Yeah.
have, all of the variables that go along with that. As someone who used to plan events and still kind of does, it's a wedding is like the pinnacle of stressful planning.
How much time do you have left?
We are getting married in 32 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the best part is we're catering it ourselves, just to make
Stop
it a little
it.
harder.
Okay.
Good times. We'll be, it'll be our first time catering a wedding.
And
It's
it's your
gonna be
own.
great. And it's my own. It's gonna be fine.
Well, I guess the bride can't get mad at you if you mess up because.
Exactly. She doesn't get mad at me.
That's crazy. I love that though. It's like you're being your own guinea pig to the process of catering an event like that.
Yeah, and why not? That's amazing. Yeah, congratulations again on both those things. Your first catering
Thanks.
a wedding and your actual
Yeah.
wedding.
My first wedding and my first wedding.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine the social media content you're gonna get from that, anyways, because all of the place settings and everything. You can have
Yep.
the beauty shots of the cute ugly bows, and then you can be like, we cater weddings now, you know?
Do you know why? Okay, so I decided to cater my own wedding because we got a quote from an unnamed source. The quote was $35,000.
Stop it.
And I was like,
For what?
I'm sorry. It was for a buffet style, which I'm sure the food was going to be delicious and
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like 30, and people kept telling me, oh, that's on the cheap end. And I was like,
Excuse me?
no,
I want to
who has
vomit.
35 grand to spend for
No
one
one.
night?
Well, I should say no one. Some people. But,
Instagram says otherwise.
right. Everyone seems like they have all the money in the world. Okay. Yeah.
I
Wow.
was
Okay.
like, no.
I
It
mean,
was
I
hard to
heard weddings are
justify. So I was like,
expensive,
no,
but
thanks.
what kind of
We'll do
food
it
was it supposed
ourselves.
to be? Was it like Asian food or like
No, I think it was
American food?
like steak and chicken
Okay.
options.
Oh, is it
Nothing crazy. It was good, but it wasn't like,
the
it
standard,
wasn't going to
you
be like a
know?
Michelin. Yeah, it was a standard food. Yeah.
Got it. I was like, everyone gets like a caviar bump, like when they walk in the door. Like, what can
A
35,000 buy?
caviar bomb.
I can't. I was just stuck on that too, Linda. I was like, what?
A
Caviar bump.
caviar bomb.
That's hilarious.
The epitome of class. Put
That
on a
was
bow.
good.
There we go.
Yeah, put on about. Exactly.
Okay, well, I'm sure the whole journey to even get this started, right? Because like you've had all these like different pathways in life, and then now you're giving in, or not giving in, I should say. You're finally feeding this idea that's been nagging at you. What was that like to finally be like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump in.
I tell people that if I knew what I know today, I probably wouldn't have done it.
That's amazing.
100%. I would have been too terrified and too
Mm-hmm.
scared.
Yeah.
I was already scared starting it. Do we cuss on this?
You can.
Yes.
podcast. I was
Okay.
scared shitless, terrified, shitless to leave a stable six-figure job and then to say like, I'm good. I'm going to start this own thing because I feel confident in myself enough to do it is the craziest bet you can take. You have to be so cocky to actually start a business, to like just believe in yourself so hardcore.
Yeah.
And it was the scariest thing. But if I had known how hard it was going to be, I would have been too scared to do it.
I
Okay.
love that you said that because we've talked to other small business owners or entrepreneurs and they are on the same in the same line as what you just said. It's like if being an entrepreneur, starting a small business it isn't for the weak. Like you have to you and also the part that you brought up about having to have a lot of confidence in yourself, that or fearlessness
Mm-hmm.
of just jumping into something you are going to have to learn on the fly because there's only so much that you can prepare yourself for when starting a business, I'm sure, versus actually having to go through the steps of doing it as things unfold. I love that you said that. It reinforces that like in order to come out on the other side of something that you are passionate about and have been wanting to do, it's not just like, oh my gosh, yay, I'm here, my dream came true. It's so much of the
Oh,
little stuff that add up and all the stress, but you know,
but
as
that's
long
what
as
Instagram shows, right? Instagram shows typically the like, oh my god, I'm here, my dreams all came true. Look at me. But I love that your platform right now is all about like actually like it's kind of ugly and messy, including the food, but it's great. Like here you go.
It's
so yummy and high
crazy.
quality, yeah.
You said that you focus on really quality ingredients, which I
Sure.
love so much. I just, Melissa and I have been talking about health for forever, whether it's mental health, physical health, all of that. Why the push for quality ingredients? Everyone says quality, but they don't really mean it. So, like, what was that? Why was that important for you?
So I have a handful of autoimmune conditions,
Oh.
and food has so much to do with it. I love eating Asian food, and Asian food makes me sick.
Ah,
It's
Oh.
it's just point blank. Like when you don't use quality ingredients, it
yeah.
causes inflammation and you feel
Yeah.
junky.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be enough to like put you in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
or it might not be enough even to make you call out of sick, call out of work,
Yeah.
but it's enough to make you feel sluggish and junky and crappy.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this morning, I was just curious. I was like, what? People are telling me that they're eating our bows for breakfast. Let me see what it's like. So I put two in the microwave and I like ran out and I ate them in my car while I was driving to my meeting.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, these are actually kind of good.
Like pat
I
yourself
was
on
like, okay, Linda, like this is not bad.
I love that. To
But
go
I was like,
about.
okay, I see it. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, I get why people are eating it as a quick breakfast on the road. It's because it has enough protein. It's got a little bit of sugar to give you like a
Mhm.
pump up for the day, but it's sustaining energy.
Yeah.
And we don't use MSG, we don't use artificial coloring, we don't use artificial ingredients, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't use bleached flour. And when you, sure, individually, if you have a little bit of those things every now and then, will it hurt you? Probably not.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's in every single item that we eat
Right.
and drink every
Yeah.
day, it accumulates.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean,
I personally don't feel good feeding people food that might make them sick if they eat 12.
yeah.
But
Right.
I've seen a guy
There's
crush 12 in front of me and he was fine.
okay, but there is that thing though, like you call it like the food hangover, right? Where it's like you've eaten too much, whether it's too salty, too greasy, too whatever. And yeah, you're right. In what's it called? Moderation, small amounts, it's not gonna hurt you. But the reality is that we're eating all that stuff constantly. Constantly. So I love that you guys are focusing on that. And I would love to learn too, how have you found that to be like a balance in your business, like cost wise, because obviously quality ingredients cost more, which is like a whole other messed up thing, but I could go on forever. How does that factor into your business?
It's so funny. I was just meeting with another small business commiserating over the cost of goods, like just the cost of ingredients and everything. Um, my friends told me point blank, this is a dumb idea. You should be using cheaper ingredients.
Mm.
No.
It's just so expensive.
But
It
yeah.
is a hard balance.
Hmm.
We use Bob's Red Mill exclusively, which is
Mm.
Wow.
one of the highest quality flours that you can buy.
Okay.
Yeah. I know the difference. I bake.
Yes.
I know when you
Yes.
see that bleach flour and then you go up on the shelf a little bit. There's Bob.
There's Bob.
He's like, hey, I cost more, but I'm better for you.
Like a standard bag of like a 5 pound bag of flour might cost you like $3 or $4.
Hmm.
Bob's cost you 8 to 12.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We buy in bulk, so that helps, but it only saves us really like a couple dollars per pound.
Right.
So it is pretty insane. I believe in the direction of our product and I believe in our product, so I will not compromise on the quality of our ingredients because that is why people love us.
Hmm.
I genuinely believe that that is why people love us. Baos are not impossible to find. You can find them in any grocery store
Right.
in the frozen aisle. You can go to San Gabriel or Orange County and find baos, but you won't find our baos
Right.
because of the quality of the ingredients. And
Hmm.
all ours are handmade. Baos these days are all machine made and manufactured, and it completely changes the dough.
Oh.
So if you
I've
eat our
seen
baos, they're
those.
fluffy as hell.
I've seen how fluffy they look. And I've seen other bows and like I've seen people like fail at using the little machines that like create the bows, and it's a funny thing to watch, but the fact that all of yours are handmade, that's amazing. It all just boils down to what your core, like what makes your business different from other bows and their businesses, because it's just that handmade touch, and it's not going to be like manufactured perfectly the same every single time. Like literally multiple, like, there's different people putting together these bows together every day. But I did want to ask specifically because you are so busy. All of, like there you're at pop-ups everywhere all the time, every weekend, which is amazing. That's why I was like, when we were gonna record and you're like, oh, I can't record because we got a pop-up opportunity, we're gonna take it because obviously you wanna put yourself out there. Can we talk about running these mini events?
Oh my God.
Basically, you
Yeah.
say you're catering your own wedding for the first time, which is a large event, but you've been to all kinds of night markets, day markets, maker markets, all those things, and putting together a 10 by 10 booth with creating food. I know because I've done outreach
Listen, like I'm having
events.
nightmares just talking about it.
I want to know the uncomfortable stuff that comes along with essentially curating your booth for all of these events, and multiple of them sometimes during the weekends. Just talk me through that.
It is so freaking hard. It is physically taxing. It is
Mm-hmm.
mentally taxing. You have to prepare for, okay, so fun fact. I just had eye surgery almost a week ago because I
Oh.
got a sty during a night market
Oh.
and the sty didn't leave for 2.5 months. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna surgically remove it.
Oh my
I've
God.
been in glasses for 2 months. So imagine like I hate wearing glasses because when you're cooking, steam
Sliding down.
it slides down. It's
Oh
just
my
so annoying. And then
God.
at
Okay.
pop-ups, you're like sweating, putting up your
Yeah.
10 by 10, and then your
Yeah.
second 10 by 10, putting up your walls, setting up your tables, putting up all the food, like everything, like
Steamer,
loading the
you're
trucks,
literally
taking down the truck,
steaming.
literally steaming, talking to customers. I'm like, hi, sorry, hi, just constantly doing this. It's hard. I think there's just no way around it. It's just hard.
Hmm.
And then when you add in weather,
Mm.
it can be hot when you're setting up at 1 in the afternoon, but it's like freezing by the time the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, and then preparing your lunch because you don't want to be eating food from other vendors sometimes because the quality isn't there. It depends
Yeah.
on the market.
That's
Depends on the market.
very.
But sometimes there's like if I want a salad, I'm not going to get a salad at a night market. They're just not.
Yeah.
No
It's
one's
just
making
it's like
salad.
okay.
Yeah.
No, no one's making salads at night market. So I have to, you have the logistics of the event itself, and then you have your self logistics of what
Yeah.
do I need to sustain myself for a 15, 16 hour day.
I was going to say, those
Wow.
are long days because you set up
Yeah.
early before
Yeah.
the event even starts. You're going to start cooking before people get there so that you have stuff to serve people when they get there. And then I'm sure I've seen the lines, the lines that you get at those, and while it's all great, I'm sure too it's like, shoot, like this
You
is
know
gonna
what? And
be.
like, don't be fooled by our Instagram too, because I need to really put up a post about what it looks like when there's no line. Because
Oh.
when there's no line, I am hustling outside of our booth, being like, samples, like, do you want to try this? Do you want to try that? And I'm like, please, please see us. Like, please buy our food. Sometimes I'm just like hustling for a $15 sale. Like, please, anyone, She's
Over here.
sweeping. We're over here in this corner. That's the mental, kind of the mental hoop. It's like, just because we have a bad day of sales does not mean that we are going to have a bad day forever.
Ah.
Like
Hmm.
not letting some of those slow moments when you don't see the line, when you're hustling like your hardest to get people to buy some bows, uh, to not let it ruin the rest of your outlook on like how the business is doing overall.
Yep.
I like that.
It's really hard.
Do
I cry like
people?
every day.
Oh.
I'm a crier too.
I
Yeah,
was just telling
I
Vanessa.
emote, it's just how you
Just get
like
it out.
release.
Just get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
quicker it's done, the quicker we can move on. But yeah, I am a crier.
I
That's what Melissa
yes.
says all the time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't believe you. And then it happens. Do people give you feedback at these events? Do people say things to you about the bows? Has anyone ever said anything negative about them? Because that would be uncomfortable for me, like so hard. I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Like to take it all personally.
I would take it
Like
so personally.
So it's funny. I think there are some customers who really, really mean well,
Mm.
and they will word vomit. Just
Oh.
like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you done this? Have you done that? And I remember at our first big night market, our booth was, our sweet, sweet booth was not cute, not up to par, just not like, we tried really hard. And it was good for what it was for the effort, but it was not all there. And
Okay.
we had customers being like, we couldn't find you, like your sign's not big enough, your colors are bad, there's no pictures, what are we
Oh.
supposed to know what this looks like? All valid, all
Yeah.
so
That's,
right.
yeah.
And it's so hard to be like, yeah, you're right, thank you so much, because it feels like they assume that you didn't think about that or that you didn't try, but
Mm-hmm.
they are genuine about it. And all I can say is thank you so much for caring enough to think
Mm.
about it and to give
Yeah.
me feedback. Like that means a lot, that you care so much that you want us to succeed.
Wow, that is a wonderful way to reframe feedback, period. Thank you for caring enough that you thought about it and then word vomited it to me because you thought I needed to
Yeah,
know.
shout out to my therapist. We
We love our therapists on this
love our
show.
therapist.
I'm just anyone who needs it and can't afford it, they just needs to listen to our podcast because we just drop therapy knowledge all the time. Yeah.
Totally.
I get free therapy advice through Vanessa's therapy by having this podcast, and I love we're such advocates for therapy here.
Well, but that
Totally.
makes me wonder, like, what else have you had to work through? I mean, in terms of, it must have been stressful to start this and to keep it going, and then like, you're also getting married, and like, there's a lot going on. Yeah. So, what are some of the things
You're also this is a family affair. You're doing it with your mom. You're doing it with your
Right?
partner, your future, your
Is that
fiance.
uncomfortable? I could never work with my mom. We would murder each other.
Oh, it is so hard sometimes. I'm very, Bryson and I are very, very transparent. We have a couples therapist also,
Love it.
because it just gives us a third party to reflect and be like, is that what you actually meant? Is that how you heard it?
Oh,
Back
fair.
and forth. And
Yeah.
then also like helping us set boundaries of like, you know what,
Hmm.
maybe after 10 o'clock, you don't talk about the business anymore.
Hmm.
I like that.
Like, what are you going to do at 10 p.m.? You can do a lot at 10 p.m. TBH, but realistically, do you want to do it at 10 p.m.? Is it good for you at 10 p.m.? Probably not.
Maybe
Like,
not.
find other things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting a business with a partner is incredibly difficult, but if you do successfully do it, then I encourage you to get married, because it's basically the same thing. You're
Ah.
compromising
Yeah.
nonstop. You're
Yeah.
communicating nonstop. You're talking about finances. You're
Mm.
sharing finances. Everything that you're terrified to share about yourself will show up in the business.
Wow.
All of your fears and anxieties manifest themselves in a business. Whether or
Hmm.
not you want it to, it just happens.
Well, that makes sense.
If
Okay.
anything's like a
Trial
trial
Yeah.
run or like
Yes,
of a marriage, start a
it's a good trial run. Start a little business, see
That's
Start a
how
little
it
business.
Wait,
goes.
so were y'all together before the business started and you guys decided, okay, so you decided to do it. How long had you guys been together before launching this business?
We've been together for 4.5 years. So we were
Okay,
together for
great.
3 years.
Okay, and before starting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Also, just like for context, Bryce and I are a little bit older. So I'm 33, he's 36.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I were like younger, it might be harder to start a business. I'm not a risk taker. So this was actually
Oh.
very shocking to everyone and myself that I was doing this.
And
I'm a
myself.
And myself.
I was like, oh, plot twist, Linda.
For the
I'm
plot.
very
That's what the
conservative.
youth
Yes.
says.
Yes. For the plot. I'm very conservative typically about like finances and
Yeah.
like just career.
Uh-huh.
I was in education. That's like as stable as it gets. Um, so yeah, I'm very lucky that like Bryson is a good business partner. He's also a great
Mm.
life partner, and that he is able to support us financially while we take this risk.
Okay.
One
Wow.
of us, I really, really recommend that if anyone is out there trying to start a business with a partner,
Hmm.
one person goes full time, one person keeps their job.
Okay.
I love all of these tips and tricks. Like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
you
the
just
real
never know what's
stuff.
going to happen.
Right. Yeah. This is the real stuff that like some small business owners don't really want to get into in
No.
this format because they're like, "Oh, that might not be interesting or entertaining." But I think this is the stuff that people need to know, especially
Yes.
if you are someone that is has been sitting on an idea, has
Mm-hmm.
been ruminating over it for years, and if
Yep.
this is something that is gnawing at you and you want to have like legit concrete real like advice, this is the kind of stuff that you want to hear, like, because
Yes.
coming from someone from for me too, it's like I've always had a couple of ideas of what I wanted to do in terms of businesses. I also know the being a conservative person in terms of like stability, being
Mm-hmm.
responsible,
Mm-hmm.
doing the responsible thing, but also wanting so bad to take that risk, but do it in like a calculated, smart way. So I appreciate everything that you're saying.
Another trick, have at least 6 months of personal living expenses saved,
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay.
if
That's a
not a
good
year.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish
Well,
I had only done 6 months and I wish I had saved up for a year.
wow. Okay. Well, just because so many people, I know someone is listening to this and they're sitting with an idea. They've been sitting with it and they're probably like, now's my time. Like Linda said, like, I'm going to do it. Um, but there's also that harsh reality too of you got to be a little practical about what's feasible or not. So it sounds like you thought about it, saved up some money, or at least made sure that you had that money before you launched into it. When you first quit your full-time job, was it weird? Did you like go home and you're like, what have I done? Like, we're
Oh, oh, every day.
oh
I still do. Still
okay.
every day. I'm like, I look at my bank account and I'm like, fuck. It's not, and that has nothing to do with the business, right? I don't
Yeah.
pay myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, so sometimes I like, I'll take an owner's draw every now and then if I'm like dirt broke, like
Yeah.
$50 in my bank account, I'll be like, I need to pull cash from the business.
Uh-huh.
But almost every single dollar that the business makes, the business gets.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It goes back. So to
Yeah.
reinvest it so we can buy more things, to do more events or buy new kitchen equipment, whatever it is that we need, we end up spending
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
yes, every single day I'm like, shit, like
That's
I
yeah.
could have so much more money right now, but I would not be as happy. Like point blank.
Okay.
I know I would not be as happy.
Yeah.
I love, love, love the Ugly Bao
Hmm.
so freaking much. This is my child. People ask me all the time, like, what will you do when you get married and you want to have a family and da 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 da. And I'm like, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. It's fine.
Yeah.
But right now, my focus is growing this business with the ultimate goal of starting a nonprofit that will work on skills development and will use this company as a training ground and an employment zone for people to then get the jobs that they want.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was reading that on your website and I wanted to ask you about that. So if you
Yeah.
what you want to go a little bit into it, because I saw that you are trying to focus on that professional development for folks. I forget what it says specifically on your website, but I loved that angle of it, of using it as a platform for people to learn skills and develop out their resume and all of that stuff. So I guess
Where'd that
what
idea
is
come from? Like, yeah,
yeah.
tell us about it.
So being in education for a decent amount, almost a decade, I saw that the traditional educational system is beautiful for people who think a type of way, who can sit in a classroom for 8 hours a day, who
Mm-hmm.
are great test
Mm-hmm.
takers, who are extroverts, and who have resources outside of the classroom to succeed.
Yeah.
The educational system is not set up to help everyone succeed in the same way. It
No.
just isn't. And I was trying to change a system that, quite frankly, did not give a fuck about changing. So why was I putting all of my efforts into this one area that was like, I'm fine? And so I was like, Linda, you're the problem. Go do your own thing. Like, stop trying to change this thing. It's not going to change. Go do it. So
Mhm.
I started the business knowing that I wanted to create a center or like a nonprofit that would help people figure out what they wanted to do with their lives while they are
Mhm.
in between, in transition, whether that's transitioning from college to career and you're not sure what you want to do.
Yeah.
So like you pick up a gig, right? Like you can pick up a Starbucks gig or you can
Yeah.
work at any fast food place, but what place will make sure that you leave in 2 years? I don't want
Mm.
anyone to work for me for more than 2 years. I want you to go out and go get a salaried job if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Or if you want a trade job, if you want to be a plumber, plumbers make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, they really
Electricians,
do. Not that I would want
electricians make
to,
so
but
much money,
yeah.
but someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Like someone's got to do it. And so like, why are we not promoting trade school more? We're promoting 4-year degrees where you
Yeah.
end up in a ton of debt.
Yes.
It's
Oh my
so
God.
competitive.
Mm.
Why are we making it seem like 4-year is the only
Only
way?
option.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
I
so,
know.
the details are still a little murky. I wanted to start it sooner than I have, but honestly, if the business doesn't survive, a nonprofit does not exist.
Correct.
You're building the
So the business has to
foundation.
thrive. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. Besides, I know you're in this fun space between like catering your first wedding, which is yours, and then also opening this like center. But what are you thinking like about your expansion? How do you hope to grow in the next few years? Just kind of what are you thinking about in the future?
You guys ask such really thoughtful questions. Really
We try.
nice. Thank you.
We
That's
try.
so nice. Our goal, if there's anyone out there in real estate, we're trying to find a home.
A brick
We're
and
trying to find
mortar.
like an actual brick and mortar. Yeah. So we have a commercial kitchen that we work out of right now in Redondo
Uh-huh.
Beach, but we don't sell out of it.
Got it.
And I would like a place to sell. In
Mm-hmm.
addition, like we will never let go of pop-ups as hard as they are.
Mm-hmm.
They are a great way for us to go and meet our customers.
Outreach.
But
Yeah.
yes, but I would love to find a place to send our customers
Right.
Yeah.
After,
after
where
they've
they
met
want
us at a
more.
pop-up.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Because right now
Wow.
it's like, yeah, just send me a DM or like, here's my phone number. But
Right.
it's, I want a convenient place for people to come pick up their bows and, as we say, bow down. Um, so that's what we're working on. Hopefully, by the end of 25, we'll be able to start, like, we'll have found a home,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and start, some of that work to
Oh
get
my
a brick and
gosh.
mortar space.
I'm so excited for you and so inspired also
Thanks.
by just like, I love hearing that you are not a risk taker because I think so often people are in the mindset that in order to be an entrepreneur to start your own thing that you have to take a leap, and you do, but it's nice to hear that that's not your normal for people who also might be like, oh, but I'm not a risk taker, like, oh, like, but that's too scary. So
Me.
Melissa, if you're listening.
Yeah, I'm the listener of this podcast. I'm taking this advice as a listener as well. So this is why I wanted you to come onto this podcast, because selfishly I wanted to know how how. And I'm sure there's other people like me that, and like you, Linda, that are on the fence, that were on the fence about something like that, like the idea that has been nagging at you for all these years. So it's just
Okay.
another way to relate to the people of leaning into the uncomfortable.
Well, to Melissa's point, if there's someone listening right now who's like, I'm almost there, I'm almost ready to take this jump, what advice would you maybe have for them, or what would you want to say to them for those who are feeling uncomfortable with it to help them feel a little more comfortable with it?
I think you know yourself the best, and you have to be your own cheerleader, your
Mm.
own self advocate, your own everything. I love Bryson with all my heart, and he will never know me the way I know me. You just can't.
Yeah.
You can't expect people to know you the way you know you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell I have like this little post-it note right here. It's so faded because it's so old. And it says check in, and it says, "Hi Linda, how are you feeling today? What do you need? Can we modify, adjust? This is hard work. Let's take care ahead of time. Love, Linda."
I love
And so
that.
you
Yeah.
have to be your own
Advocate.
you, because you have to be your own everything, because I think even in the beginning, everyone who was a naysayer is now a fan.
Hmm.
And it's easy to be a fan when it's already successful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to be a cheerleader when you're like, that's cute. And it's just,
Yeah.
I got a lot. I had so many, oh, that's nice. Or like,
Oh,
are you sure? Or
okay.
like,
Yeah.
well, don't quit your job. A
Okay,
lot
yeah.
of those. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to be the one to tell me, like, you have a
This
good
is worth
product.
it. Yeah, this
It's
is.
worth it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the first time I've truly gambled on myself. Like, truly, truly, truly gambled on myself. And you have to do that. It does not get easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every single day, you have to wake up and be like, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are we doing today? And you got this, Linda. And if you don't, that's okay too. But we're just gonna like keep going and it's
Yeah.
gonna be fine. And if it's not fine, it'll be fine tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every single day, you have to choose yourself
Mm-hmm.
and what it is that you love. And you just got to keep going. So if you're out there and you're trying to start a new thing and you're not sure, make a logo. Try making a
Okay.
logo.
Yeah.
See if it's cute. If you don't like the logo, try it again. Canva's got great AI. ChatGPT can
We
pump
love
out
Canva
logos
here.
like, yeah, you can do anything now with AI. Just make yourself a
That
logo,
is
make yourself a
true.
bio.
Mm-hmm.
Just make an Instagram. Don't populate it. Just save the handle.
Hmm.
Just like little things day by day that keep the dream alive. And it's
Yeah.
not so scary. Just little
Yeah.
bites here and there.
Oh, little bites. Little bites. Speaking of, I know Melissa's going to ask you to share where we can find you in a moment, but I know it's October right now and the
Yes.
holidays are around the corner. So would love to know if like holiday orders are a thing and if so, where people find you. Like, how do people order from you?
I have not run this by Bryson or my mom, but I'm gonna promote it. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna do like a little bow kit where
Okay.
you'll
Cute.
get like a bag of our mix and
Uh-huh.
we'll give you the instructions and you can make your own bows at home and fill it with whatever filling you want.
Oh, that's cute.
Um, I think it's a great holiday activity to do with
I
your
was gonna
family,
say.
especially if you're
Mhm.
Asian
Mm-hmm.
and you want to start a new tradition like a bow making tradition with your fam. It's not that hard. It's got a lot of steps, but once you have the mix, you're fine. And I got you
Right.
on the mix. Of course, we do deliveries, we do catering, home catering, we do corporate catering. We also do lunch catering. So we started the Ugly Bao and beyond. So we do
Okay.
spring rolls, egg rolls, we
Yum.
do tofu bowls, chicken bowls, pork belly bowls. We do
Ooh. Not
all the
just
things,
ows. Yeah.
not
Wow.
just
Yeah, I
those.
know. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can
Okay.
always hit me up on Instagram or our
I was gonna
website.
say. I was gonna say
That's
where
where you
can
find us.
so what is the handle for all the things on where are you what platforms are you
The
at?
Ugly Bow. Shockingly, it was not already taken. Go
Wow.
figure. No one wanted it.
I'm
At the
kind of
Ugly Bow on
surprised.
Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I was actually too.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised. But
Well,
yeah,
works
at the
out.
Ugly Bow on Instagram, you can go hello at theuglybow.com. You can go to www.theuglybow.com, but real talk, our website is a little bit behind. So, bear with me while we figure that out. But yeah, just check out our Instagram. If you DM us, you are DMing me. It comes to my phone. I
Oh,
am our social media manager.
there we
I
go.
am I am our everything.
You're the everything.
I am our
I
everything.
am our
Yes.
everything. We should get you a shirt that says that.
That
Okay.
is actually funny.
Well, thank you again, Linda, for joining us today. I personally learned a lot. I personally learned a lot about your courage and the confidence that it takes to bet on yourself, especially when things are new and scary. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Hopefully everyone listening that has had that little idea in their head is a little bit more inspired today after listening to this episode. So thank you again for being here. And thank you all for listening to another episode of the I'm Uncomfortable podcast. Be sure to follow Linda at the Ugly Bao, but also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at imuncomfortable.podcast. We're also on YouTube now. So if you want to see our faces, not on Spotify because we are also on Spotify video, but on YouTube, you can subscribe to us at I'm Uncomfortable Podcast. And we also have a Facebook group. So we release our episodes a full day early, exclusively to our I'm Uncomfortable club. So join us there if you want the exclusive early release. And lastly, of course, we are available wherever you get your podcasts, and we release new episodes every week. So we will see you then. Bye.